Aren't they all BS Free MD episodes?
Well, it's not a DocTales.
There's no cocktails to be had.
There will be very soon.
Sliding on the table. This is fun. I have to reach way over here now to smack you.
I know. All right. Welcome back to BS Free MD. Today we are going to do an update episode. It's been 2-3 months since May kind of went through what she's been experiencing with long COVID. We've interviewed Peter McCullough with regards to this, tried implementing some of what he's done. May's gone down several different rabbit holes. And the good news is she's doing way better. So I'm going to let her take basically most of that from here and start off with really what do you think's worked? Let's start there. First of all, you're feeling better, you're sleeping better, your energy's better, your mood is way better. What do you think has worked? What do you think has worked? If you had to pick one thing out of the myriad that you're doing, what do you think has made the biggest difference?
Okay. Well, since we're going to jump right in and not giving anybody any background.
Well, you can give some background.
On what's been going on. I'll answer your question.
They can also go back and listen to the other episodes, which is much more detailed.
I'll answer your question, which is, for me, peptides. And a specific peptide.
Really?
Really.
Okay, which is let's get to that.
So
let's rewind a little bit and talk about what has been going on.
I think for people that haven't tuned in yet, that are like, what are they even talking about? So if you are a regular follower, and if you're not, rewind and, like Tim said, watch. I shared kind of what's been happening with me over the past 3 years. I'm going to be really condensed version. So COVID happened, and it was like a year after my second COVID outbreak. Things were going great, and then all of a sudden I got super sick. Things started to come unravel. I spent 3 years trying to blame it and pin it all on stress, hormones, life stress, moving, multiple surgeries, and those were all contributing. However, the underlying thing that was happening with me that I didn't realize was that I call it spikeopathy. My spike protein antibody levels, because I haven't measured antigen levels, although you can, we can get into that, were very high, like 12,000 through the LabCorp antibody test, which you can get for $69 yourself, more accurate than the Quest test, because it tops out at 2,500. And I had done my test through Quest twice, and it was greater than 2,500 and kind of blew it off. And then, lo and behold, I talked about how I'd been reading Dr. Peter McCullough's Substack through Focal Points last fall, like September, October, and he had talked and referenced some really good data studies that had showed correlation and direct correlation between rising antibody titers and antigen, spike protein, actual antigen levels. And it's not just, everyone's like, oh, it's immunity, your immune system, you need antibodies. Yeah, but you don't need massively high and climbing exponential levels. So the article talked about that. When he came on the show, he talked about what is a normal antibody level after you've either had a jab or an exposure or both, where it should be running around 1,000 or so. Sometimes he changes his numbers a little bit, 2,000, for sure less than 5. But anyway, when it's persistently climbing and you're sick and you're having things happen, that's an issue. So through LabCorp, you get the actual quantitative levels. You can test antigens now in the US. I think that's coming in, where you can actually do a test to see if it's the COVID vaccine or if it's the infection. And it does differentiate. It's not readily, but it's available in Germany. It's about $1,000 to do the test, and I know that people in Europe have been doing it. I have not sent mine in to do because, and I'll get into why, but I'm thinking, for me, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to treat it. I have been vaxxed twice. We did the first Pfizer vaccines, 2 of them, but then we were repeatedly exposed daily for years treating people. And so, and then I got sick, and my stuff didn't really start to unwind until even a year after I was last sick. So I didn't want to do that, pay the money for the test, because the way I was going to approach in treating it, I was going to cover both whether it was from the vax or the direct infection.
Yeah, and let me interject there. I don't know that it matters anymore. I think vaccine shedding is a real thing. I think that the number of mutations, the amount of exposure that people have had, the subclinical infections that people have had with new variants, the number of people that have had boosters that you're just like walking next, sitting next to in a movie theater. I think right now it's just all this spikopathic, spikeopathy milieu. And, if you have high spike protein, you have high spike protein. I'm not sure it necessarily matters,
Right. I think
whether
Peter
it's the vaccine or not.
would say, and some people would say, if it's actual active infection from COVID, then maybe using a few certain targeted pharmaceuticals, such as ivermectin, might be better because it's better to attack the virus that way versus replicating RNA in the body. So there's nuances. However, because my levels were climbing into the fall, and then I came on the show and shared what was happening with my health and how I was not developing the cardiorespiratory issues, and therefore, our brains and friends, we weren't even thinking when I was unwell that it was spike, because I was developing, which now becoming a more common and well-known issue, is the autoimmune piece, which is developing autoimmune diseases as well as getting mast cell activation syndrome, or MCAS response. And lots of things can cause mast cell issues, from hormones and perimenopause and menopause, as well as people can have genetic predispositions to it all throughout their life, which I have now done that testing through Tyler Panster, who was on our show, and
who's coming up again very shortly.
So fast forward, I shared what was going on. Peter McCullough came back on the show and we talked about me, and as well as how to manage long COVID and his suggestions and options available. We got a lot of responses and feedbacks on our social media, as well as emails from people sharing their stories and their family stories and saying thanks, but also giving me some information that was helpful too about what was going on with them. And it's been really, I was trying to keep it all private and quiet, and I guess there's that pride thing of me still, like I said before, not wanting to just dump all my stuff out there in the air. However, it's so common, and a lot of people don't see the correlation, and they don't know what's going on, and don't even still think that could be from COVID that's triggering this. And what do you do? And that's what I want to share some more, is what I'm doing. This is not medical advice for you, because everybody's so different, and we've talked about this before. Epigenetically, your allergies, your sensitivities, your own medical background and history, and even still, medicine's so nuanced, as well as nutritional medicine. So I can share what people have tried that works really good, that I might have not have done, what I'm doing. And I just wanted to update you all and let you know how I'm doing, what's been working, and why. And please feel free to write in and share with us too. But because people have been asking, I thought, what the heck, why not update everybody?
Yeah, well, and the other thing that you got to be really, we've talked about this, and we're going to beat the drum till we're senseless, is one of the biggest problems with Western medicine is one size fits all. And so there's a danger when you get into, I hate the word alternative, but whatever this world we're in, where we're doing supplements, we're doing, maybe slightly off the reservation treatments, HBOT, red light therapy, all things that we've talked about for years and we really like and we think can be very effective modalities for different problems, is that you can get the one size fits all supplement world too.
Oh my gosh.
And actually,
right?
That can be just as harmful or just as unhelpful as one size fits all medicine, where you go to the doctor, you have a blood pressure number of X, you get medicine Y, you get a statin, because your cholesterol is a certain number, you're seen for 5 minutes. I mean, it doesn't matter if you feel crappy and you're being treated improperly, whether it's a 5-minute visit with a physician or whether it's following an influencer and buying all their crap and actually making yourself worse because your epigenetics don't match your supplementation.
Right.
So we are really, really into this. You got to do your own research. You got to figure out what works for you, and it's not one size fits all. It's one
Right.
size fits
So,
nobody.
total case in point. When we go back to when we were treating COVID and we were following the FLCCC protocols for nutraceuticals and what to do, and we were going through the list with people and printing it off, and we were following it ourselves as far as protocols. And I don't know that you did it, but I was doing vitamin C with quercetin. One of the mid-level practitioners we worked with was like, hey, yeah, quercetin's, I was researching it. It's a great anti-inflammatory. It really helps stabilize mast cells related to spike protein, all this stuff. And so I was taking that combination right through COVID and into 23 when we moved here. Now that I know better, because I know more about myself, quercetin for me is like the wrong thing to take. I mean, it really is like if someone was taking aspirin and they have an ulcer as well as like a GI bleed kind of a thing or a bleeding problem already. Because of my genetics, the quercetin was actually blocking things up more and compounding a problem and adding on to other things. So I did not know that. Good night. So you get on these Facebook groups and they're very helpful, but everybody's got their story and what works for them and what works for maybe 90% of the people. But you have to be careful because while you'll see, oh yeah, quercetin, take quercetin, it's a great thing for stabilizing histamine and mast cells and allergies, quercetin's in apples and celery, and just eat more of it. For a few people, myself included, it makes us feel worse. So all that to say, when I go through here and share what I've been doing, know your body, listen to your body. If you take something and you feel worse on it, then there's a reason your body's telling you that. And Tim and I are so different genetically, and I always laugh, like he'll take something and it doesn't bother him. Me, I never saw myself as ultra sensitive, but biochemically,
Yeah, I mean,
I sure
genetically,
am.
we're totally different. Like, my penis is way bigger than yours. It's unbelievable.
Well, now that you're spilling the beans, you might have to show proof.
You never know. It's cold in here. It's freezing.
It's actually hot in this studio. I'm gonna like rip my mic off and air myself. I'm not even having
maybe
a
you're having a hot flash.
Maybe it's the new sign that's warming it up. Okay. I jumped in and said peptides. So what I started doing, and I can't remember when Peter was on how much he was really pushing for me to do his spike protein detox. And so I was leery.
Which I'm doing, and I tolerate perfectly fine.
Yeah. So it's got mostly lumbrokinase, bromelain.
That's yours, not Peter's.
No, the spike protein detox that he sells.
Is nattokinase.
Sorry, nattokinase, bromelain, and has quercetin, and black seed oil, and a few other little nuanced things in there, some polyphenols. And it is to be taken on an empty stomach at night. Now, I was leery because nattokinase, it can be soy-based, quercetin is in there, and so those can liberate more histamine. And from his point of view, it's good for clot busting, breaking down fibrinogen. It's good for I think, not that you can't detox spike protein with people with MCAS, that you can't use it in those, but people with histamine issues can get a lot worse using nattokinase and quercetin. If you have I should back up. People with mast cell issues can be very sensitive to the nattokinase. Quercetin is another pathway. Bromelain can be hard on the gut too because it is an enzyme from pineapple. So a lot of people in these forums that I'm following say the bromelain by itself made me worse. The nattokinase, there's no way. So I was leery because I was already having a lot of trouble just stabilizing what was going on for me, for my MCAS mast cell flares, what my stuff was. So I read a lot. I did a lot of research on various mast cell groups and found a lot of great doctors that are doing a lot of research in COVID as well as mast cell stuff. I looked to see what people are using, and there's a lot out there. And there's a lot I'm not using, but I've thought about. I'll just say the first peptide that I thought about diving into is GLP-1s, and that is, yes, the weight loss drug.
Yeah, but it's in like teeny weensy little
Yeah,
microdose.
tirzepatide is got the most studies and data, and they're using that very well for people with mast cell activation syndrome in micro doses, not even the it's 2 milligrams starting dose
Two and a half usually
for
for
weight
starting.
loss. They're using a tenth or a fifth of that dose in people. And it's working really well, and they're not getting weight loss, and they're finding that it's calming down their immune reactivity. So there's a lot of different specialists in the immunology field using that. I, however, chose not to go that route because I've now developed an autoimmune disease, I think from COVID, which is autoimmune gastritis, and my gut is very slow, and those medications can slow things down even more. And I don't, there's days when, yeah, I need my gut to slow down, but I don't need gastroparesis. So I started doing some more research while I was waiting for my appointment with my specialist consult, which was scheduled for March. And I think I shared that I was going to be working with Dr. Pierre Corey's team to help me with my long COVID spikopathy. But while I was waiting, I started picking and choosing through my vitamins and using antihistamines. That means like Zyrtec, the H1 blockers, as well as Pepsid, H2 blocker. But I've read about other peptides that really work for people, especially with GI issues, and there's 3 of them. However, mast cell stabilization and gut health seem to be helped the most by one called KPV peptide. It's 3 amino acids. It is actually approved to be taken orally as well as the other 2, and is preferred to be taken orally if you have gut problems. So most people inject peptides, and so people think of, the weight loss drug peptides or growth hormone peptides or all these other things for longevity or good skin, and there's a lot of them. But to stabilize mast cells and autoimmunity, especially in the COVID realm, KPV is very good. And if you've got problems with leaky gut, then there's 3 that are studied really well. And BPC is one of them, KPV and liraglutide. And I won't get into all the nuances, but what I needed, KPV, was the one. There's a couple companies, and
Can you get it over the counter, or do you have
Yes.
to? You have to have a prescription.
So there's a couple of companies that sell it over the counter. It's all above board. It's not black market at all. And the company I'm getting it from is Integrative Peptides, and Level Up sells it as well. But I think they sell theirs in a combo stack. I'm gonna have to double check because they have things multiply combined, and I recommend doing one thing at a time. So I started on KPV, and this was right at the end of December, and within 3 days of taking it, and it's 1 capsule a day, my stomach, because I was having so much trouble with food sensitivity, diarrhea, racing heart after high histamine foods or even regular food, within 3 days, I felt like I was back to 90% of normal. Everything calmed down. My sleep was even much better. And that has made the biggest difference for me. Because I was experimenting with the vitamin C because that helps histamine. I couldn't do quercetin. I was trying PEA. It's another supplement. I started with some, and I'm doing some luteolin now, which is also shown to be a better mast cell stabilizer than quercetin and with less side effects. And so I'm actually doing luteolin twice a day. So for people that have mast cell and MCAS, please look into it. There's some good studies that show that it actually works better than quercetin, and it's it's better tolerated and doesn't affect people with this slow COMT mutation. Then, of course, I've been doing low histamine diet. I gave up alcohol as well as no more spinach, tomato, and avocado for me, and some other foods that trigger it. The vinegar, tomato, ketchup had to go. And that was important to do those things.
So you're saying a Bloody Mary and avocado toast is like out of the...
And that would keep me in the bathroom, keep me up at night and in the bathroom for days. So I'm finally, let's forward to March. I got to meet with my, there's a nurse practitioner that's overseeing things for me through Dr. Corey's clinic. And we laid out a plan. And I had a bunch of questions because I'd researched a benefits and safe things for me to try. And gosh, I was looking at hyperbaric oxygen therapy in a hard shell chamber at 2 atmospheres or more. That can be very expensive. The studies are great, but you got to do like up to 40 visits. Some people see relief at 20. So I had looked into that. She didn't seem to think I needed to get there yet because I don't have a lot of the exercise intolerance. I'm on ivermectin, and I'm super sensitive to medication. Let me tell you, I started on that stuff. Did 1 capsule a day for 3 days. I'm up to my full dose now. I can't even tell that I'm on it, and that's going well. So the ivermectin, taken daily. Then we're layering on NAC. I was really interested in Dr. Tina Pier's work using augmented NAC, and that works for a lot of people. However, people that have sulfa intolerance, I'm one of those people that's allergic to sulfa drugs and all the shellfish things I can't eat. So I started doing small doses of powder in a scoop, half a scoop at a time. And then I upped it. When I took it at nighttime, I wasn't sleeping and I felt really bad. So I've backed off on that for a bit, but that's part of my stack that I would like to get to. The next thing I've added in is, because I can't do nattokinase, we need something else to break up spike protein. It's lumbrokinase. And a lot of people really like that one that are sensitive to medicine, have MCAS. It's well tolerated. I'm on day 4 of the
What's
of
it made from?
lumbrokinase.
If natto's from natto, what's lumbro from? Lumbro?
It is.
From lumber?
It is. I'm going to have to look it up on the specifics. It's not fermented the same. Because I know that Peter said that even in the Wellness Company's new stack of their spike protein detox, they weren't getting the fermented natto. They were doing some other process. But it also helps break up clots, small fibrin deposits, and helps spike protein cleave. So that's kind of where I'm at. I do sunlight in the morning and some grounding. I try to do that as soon as I get up. Really big into making sure I get my water. And then the next thing I have to say is sweating is really important. And red light therapy is something we started experimenting with, as well as dry sauna, infrared sauna. And I don't sweat very much. Tim, however, we went together sweating.
Yeah, we went to one of the
buckets.
Like, no, seriously, like there's a pool beneath me. I am like sweating like a whore in church, and May has like 1 drop of sweat on her entire body.
So yeah, so let's.
And I'm like, how is this even possible?
Let's start off gentle, because it goes up to what, 175. Let's put you at 130. It's your first time in here, and I'm thinking, man, the last time I've been in the sauna was when I was a lifeguard, when we used to throw all that steam on those lava rocks, and I would be dying and on the floor. I hate saunas, so we're sitting in there. I do like heat, and yeah, within like 10 minutes, you were like drip, drip, dripping. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And you're checking your heart rate on your watch. And I'm like, I don't really feel anything. And I'm dry as a bone. And your heart rate's up. And mine was like, what, 69? And we had to crank it up some more. So I started to sweat. But everybody's so different in how they sweat and what temperature. So we're going to go again. We'll see what happens. But on Saturday. So we bought this membership for this sauna and red light therapy, and I wanted to test it out first before I buy my own red light panel. If you guys have any favorites that you use, let me know. I know that Huberman and everybody's got their favorite thing, but we don't have a red light panel yet, but I'd probably get one. So the infrared sauna, red light therapy is a good thing to do as well. And let me think. I would say that's where I'm at right now. I want to try to add on the NAC. I would, for clearing spike protein. I mentioned before that I did try the nicotine patch.
That didn't work.
For me, it didn't work. It actually exacerbated things in me. It vasoconstricted my fingers and toes badly because I have Raynaud's, and that made it worse. I got very dizzy, even on the tiny dose. And fasting. Okay, so intermittent fasting has been shown, or even long period fasting, to be shown to help clear spike protein as well, in various studies. And so it was suggested to me to try to do longer than a 16-hour fast. If I could try a 24-hour, but 36 is the sweet spot. So I couple weekends ago, I did like a 28-hour fast. And it worked out well for me because I'd had a flare and I was in the bathroom all morning and I didn't want to eat anything because my stomach was just clearing things out. And I'm like, I cannot eat anything anyway. And I made it 28 hours, felt really great. The following weekend, you were at work and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to aim for 36. Man, I got into like, it was like hour 16 and I was getting dizzy and it was hot out and I was trying to hydrate and I was doing electrolytes even. I got a migraine so bad. I was vomiting and on the floor. I had to treat myself for migraine. That was the end of the fast. And I'm a little leery to do it again because I have a history of severe migraines with going long periods without eating and hypoglycemia. So I know that I can do the 16-hour, the overnight fasting. But that's another one that's really helpful to help clear spike protein. And even if you can do, eat early, make your eating window from like 10 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. and then don't eat from 6 in the evening the next morning.
Just make it noon till 4.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we could not eat past, 4 is a little early. You think you can eat between noon and 4?
Do it all the time.
I see you sneaking those breadsticks.
Yeah, they don't care.
The closet creep. So, so that's where I'm at. That's what I've been doing so far. I am sleeping so well, and I'm so thankful for that because the not sleeping just wrecks everything. And my gut is doing amazing.
And that's the KPC.
And that's with the KPV.
KPV?
Yeah.
Okay. Not to be confused with KFC.
Correct.
Which will not settle your gut.
Yeah. So peptides are usually, we want to get someone on the show to talk about peptides. However, I'm just going to say what I'm doing, I take it daily and plan to stay on it for months. A lot of peptides are injectables, though, for the most part, and you cycle those on and off. I did stop it I took it for a month and then went off for a week or two, and then I started to feel unwell, so I went back on it. And from what I read, it's best for me to stay on that one probably for 4 to 6 months, and then we'll see. I'm not going to retest my levels for a while. I'm going to wait and see. I don't think it makes sense. For sure, levels can go up as they start mobilizing out of your tissues, skin, organs, and then into the bloodstream as you're clearing it. So one would expect, and from what I've heard people say, is that they'll actually rise as you're clearing them out before falling. I looked at some other therapies and was a little, that people have talked about doing ozone and EBU and all these kind of things. I'm a little not suspect on some of them. There's just so many things, and you have to find what is going to work for you. Yeah. How much? This gets expensive, and even I'm like, good night. These supplements are not cheap. I now carry a little. I'm one of those people that carries a pill thing around in my purse, and I have to schedule these all out. AI is great for helping you plan in time when to take all your stuff, and I carry it around with me.
Yeah, again, there's a couple of thoughts I have as far as principles for people to guide what they do. There's a lot of gurus out there, but be very, very concerned and suspect and suspicious if somebody has the way. The secret knowledge, the my way or the highway. No, we have taken pieces of data and expertise from numerous experts and then figured out what worked and what didn't work and then put that together. And that's really what it takes. Peter's kind of the nattokinase guy, which is fantastic. And, so that's one of the pieces, but it isn't necessarily the whole puzzle.
Correct.
And he would
right.
agree with that. And then, there's how does
well, Tina Pierce, she's all about augmented NAC.
And our friend Sabine Hazen, how does KPV affect the gut microbiome? And a lot of this is the Wild West. We don't really know. But what it's really about is getting people healthier, feeling better, being able to live your life in a way you want to because you're back to your health. And this has been, we're both doctors. We both worked exclusively in COVID clinics through the entire pandemic, outpatient COVID clinics, treated tons of people with monoclonal antibodies, et cetera, et cetera. And we still were totally stumped on, okay, what do we do next? So.
And yeah, it's part of my, I think I've kind of basically said it or shared it before, almost even shame in talking about it for so long, because it's like, good night. But there we were in the thick of it, seeing people, not even thinking that what was happening with me was like this related to spike protein, to even think to pursue that avenue. And I mean, and we absolutely knew a lot of people that had long COVID or all these sequelae from it. And we're totally on board with having them, go through protocols and treatment. But I'm just here to say, this is what was happening to me. I know that it's the people that have the cardiorespiratory, fatigue, no energy, the clotting, that gets a lot of press. But the autoimmune part and the people like, well, it's all these weird symptoms that just don't add up.
That you've never had before. Or you're 26 years old and you have stage 4 colon cancer.
Right.
Like all this stuff. So here's how here's the bottom line with this though. When it was the pandemic and you went to conventional medical doctor, everything was COVID. You got to be afraid of the air because everyone is shedding the virus asymptomatically. Right. So wear a mask. So everything was COVID. Kid falls off motorcycle, gets killed, tests positive for COVID. COVID killed him. Right? Like on and on and on. All that bullshit. Now it's exactly the opposite. Nothing's COVID.
Right? Can't be that. Can't
nothing.
Be that.
And in reality, I'm convinced of this. The post-COVID spikeopathies are going to be way worse as a public health problem, and for individual health problems such as cancer, autoimmune disorders, clotting problems, way worse than anything that the actual pandemic ever did. Because the actual pandemic, the actual virus, hurt frail, old, sick people or very chronically ill people, especially very chronically ill, morbidly obese people. Those are people that get sick all the time from anything. Now what we've done is we've traded, and with the spikeopathy, we're making people that never got sick with God knows what. So yes, we are very passionate about this, and we'll be beating this drum silly because we want to help people, and we are so thankful for how much better May is doing. But this was a journey. So to anyone struggling with this, keep researching, keep asking questions, it's going to cost you some money. Like none of this is free. These are great experts that you can access, but no one is Jesus on this. Like there's no perfect provider. All of us are figuring this out as we go along.
There's a few front runners out there, depending on what your issues are. And then there's some generalists like who I'm working with, and I'm not getting paid to plug, Pierre Corey's Leading Edge group, but there's different, and you can look it up, different groups out there that are, gathering all the tools, looking at your own personal needs. It's helpful to know your genetics and epigenetics. It's helpful to have a few other things like that you already know, whether your gut microbiome testing and your levels of certain vitamins and baseline labs and things like that. Not 100% necessary, but it's very helpful. And then, you want someone that can look at the whole picture and pull and piece things together for you. Don't believe, there's these influencers that are on wherever and have these names. It's like, it's the nicotine patch has cured all this, or it's just one thing. Maybe for some people, it's like one specific thing. Like I said, KPV, for me, calmed down all the gut thing. However, it doesn't clear spike protein. It's helping with that symptom, and it's turned my life around. Now I have to do the other work. So there's not just one miracle piece, and don't ever believe that.
Yeah. So perfect.
Please, if you have questions, if you're like, oh my gosh, this somebody I know, or maybe me, this sounds like it, could it be? Who do you suggest I go to for this, that? Please write us, send us an email. You can do doc@bsfreemd.com. You can message us, although the email is better because through Facebook and Instagram, sometimes it takes us a bit to get through there and see all those messages. But please send us an email. I try to respond to everybody and share what I can to help. And we hope to I'll give you some more updates in a little while, sooner than later, as well as have some more experts on to talk about some of these fields. So,
Perfect. Outstanding. All right. That's a wrap for today. Remember, like, share, comment, and as always, keep it BS free.